President Donald Trump, he is out in Glendale. We carried about, I would say, 35 minutes of the speech. We told you we would carry a portion of it. We carried a portion of Kamala when she was here. We can't stick around for the whole speech. We got stuff to do. No. But why don't we go over...
We're into the greatest hits part, anyway.
Why don't we go over what we heard? You're just, if you're just joining us, you are listening to a KTAR, Glendale, Phoenix. He's Bruce. I'm Gaydos. We're outspoken. And at about 4:30 today, Donald Trump took the stage out in Glendale. Listen, I mean, it's tough to kind of sit here and break down a Donald Trump stump speech because, you know, he doesn't say anything really new. And I can also tell you this. When Kamala was here at the same arena, she did a speech that she did everywhere else. It wasn't new. It's called a stump speech.
Yeah, they literally give the same speech everywhere they go.
Correct. So a couple of things. I think the takeaway from this is that RFK Jr. suspended his campaign and endorsed Trump and was actually on stage with him in Glendale.
Yeah, that's the headline out of this one.
Think about what happened in Arizona today. I mean, really.
Okay.
In Phoenix, RFK Jr. drops out of the race. He is in talks and he's putting together paperwork to get his name off the ballot in Arizona.
Yeah.
So he did
Please take me off the ballot.
In Phoenix today. And then, of course, you have Donald Trump and his rally.
Yeah.
Place is packed. He's doing his thing. A lot has happened today in this state, and it just shows you we're ground zero, man. This is going to be a big swing state.
And apparently, all RFK Jr. got for his endorsement is that Trump said he will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. And apparently, RFK it would be a part of that.
Yeah.
And they would release the documents from the JFK assassination. There's still some documents that have never been released. And all I'm asking is, what, are we just going to ignore John Wilkes Booth? Are we not looking at anything else?
I don't think we should ignore that either.
No,
why not?
I mean, let's look at the link. I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Does
about Abraham
RFK
Lincoln
move people from his side to Trump's side? That's really
Does he bring them
the
along?
crux of this. Yeah, because, again, he had about we're talking about Arizona, he had about 5% of the vote here.
And that it was down, I want to say he peaked at maybe 10 to 12, somewhere in that range?
Or less, I guess. But I think it's worth noting how important is RFK's 5%. It's very important.
Well, yeah, knowing that this election will come down to 7 states.
Right.
And if you look at how tight the races are in those 7 states, I don't say this as an exaggeration. I heard one of those math nerds look at it. Mm-hmm. You're talking about roughly 150,000 votes spread over 7 states.
Wow.
Will be the difference.
Wow, that's crazy.
In this election. About 150,000. Well, what was it in Arizona? It was
10,000.
10,000.
Biden won by 10.
Think about that, you know. And so would a percent matter? Sure it would. Absolutely.
Let me give you some numbers. Politico. Harris is leading Trump 59-34, excuse me, with Hispanic voters.
You would think she'd be doing better, right? That's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not good if you are Kamala.
Correct. That's
Trump,
what I meant.
Trump, 34% is not terrible. Okay. There's a poll. What is it called? 538? You like that poll.
Yeah, 538.
It's a combination of all these other polls.
Blog, yeah, and they take a look at all the polls. They put them together. They weight polls based on their accuracy in the past.
It's not bad.
It's a math nerd's way of looking at polls.
Kamala Harris is up 1.4% over Donald Trump in Arizona. It's razor thin.
Well, and again, within the margin of error, you argue too, right? Usually there's about plus or two, 3.
So we're talking about, you know, if half of the 5% go to Trump and the other half of the 5% go to Kamala, we're going to have a really, really close race,
okay,
right?
So that's a question. And I say this. Are any of the remaining are the 5% of RFK Jr. voters who are still with RFK Jr. even after Biden left the race? I'm assuming they're not going to Harris. They would have already left, right?
I think the voters
wouldn't the anti-Biden crowd have left RFK Jr. when Biden got out of the race. So you can't leave twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It could be split right down the middle. I really don't know. There were people that were thinking about voting for RFK because Trump versus Biden, you just can't stomach. You can't pick one. Mm-hmm. So it makes you feel better if you don't vote for either of them, and you go and vote for RFK, knowing you're basically throwing your vote away. But at least you're not cozying up to Trump. At least you're not voting for Joe Biden, who ruined the border for the last 3 or 4 years in Arizona.
So you're saying, and again, I'm not debating you. It's a question because I haven't seen data on this. Mm-hmm. Were the remaining RFK Jr. supporters
in Arizona, the 5%?
In Arizona.
Okay.
Was that a protest vote against both parties?
I agree. I think so.
Like I ain't voting for an R and I ain't voting for a D. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who they put at the top of the ticket.
But I do think now that Biden is out and Harris is in, it gives the RFK voter possibly a reason to vote for a Democrat. Because if you were voting for RFK, you weren't thrilled with Trump. You're not voting for him.
If you were already, right, but you probably
weren't thrilled with Biden.
But I'm saying you weren't thrilled with Harris either because you would have left 4 weeks ago.
But now you have Kamala Harris, who has replaced Joe Biden, and maybe if you're an RFK supporter, you say, that's better than Biden, I'll vote for her. But I wasn't voting for Trump in the first place
I think
anyway.
They left already.
Okay.
I think RFK lost support when Harris went to the top. And we saw him go down 3 to 5% nationwide, and that was
And you're talking about the remaining 5%.
The remaining ones. If they were going to go to Harris, wouldn't they have left already? You see, I mean,
it sounds plausible, yeah.
I'm trying to apply logic to
it's tough.
to emotion, which a lot of people use emotion when they're discussing or choosing amongst candidates.
I think what's interesting for Arizona is this.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like you're going to have an RFK on the ballot.
You're still going to have third-party candidates, the ones that nobody knows about.
Correct. But
Marianne Williamson or
but if he remained on the
Jill
ballot,
Stein, the Green Party.
But if he remained on the ballot, that could screw things up. Let me give you an example.
Sure, it could.
Give you an example.
Oh, there's an example.
And tell me if you remember it like this too.
Please tell me,
because it just popped into my head, and sometimes that means it's not totally accurate. Remember, 2022, we had a gubernatorial race between Lake, Salmon, and Karen Taylor Robeson. Salmon dropped out, but his name was still on the ballot.
Still, because he dropped out too late, right?
Yeah.
Right.
If you were kind of a moderate Republican, you probably liked Salmon or Karen Taylor Robeson.
I see where you're going.
Right? But when Salmon dropped out, his name remained on the ballot, and he got thousands of votes still. Imagine what would have happened if he wasn't on the ballot, because a lot of the Salmon votes probably would have went to Karen Taylor Robeson, not Carrie Lake. If you're talking about who's similar, it's probably a Matt Salmon and a Karen Taylor Robeson. Lake is on a planet all by herself. I don't say that to degrade her. I'm just saying that she's just different than everybody. And if she's MAGA, Karen Taylor Robeson and Salmon, not MAGA. So Salmon got some of the votes that would have went to Karen Taylor Robeson.
Sure.
And if his name was off the ballot, she may have won because it was that close.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying here is RFK has filed official paperwork to withdraw his name from the race.
Adrian Fontes confirmed that for us.
That would be a good thing for the election in Arizona. No confusion. Some people would just vote for him anyway because you don't want to vote for one of the other two. I'm glad that his name is going to be off the ballot.
We saw that in the primaries.
Let's see who really wins.
We saw that in the primaries, remember? I mean, Nikki Haley getting 20%, 17% in some places, even though she wasn't running. Right?
Absolutely.
That's kind of the argument.
And that was a protest vote against Donald Trump.
It was a protest vote. So, yeah, I just don't know how many of the remaining RFK supporters are supporting RFK as a protest vote over Trump. I don't know. It's a number greater than zero. How's that? I just don't know how big it is.
Yeah.
And will they suddenly just say, oh, RFK Jr. says they're going to have a presidential. He was up there talking about the USDA.
Who was? RFK?
RFK.
Well, he did bring up chronic disease in children, and I Googled it.
It's an issue.
It is an issue.
It's been an issue for a while.
40% of kids, adolescents, they have chronic issues in America.
I'm going to say this politely. Americans don't care, obviously.
I don't know if Americans know it's 40%. I didn't. Did you?
I knew it was a big number.
Okay. I didn't know it was 40%.
Obesity is a huge issue with kids.
Oh, it could be asthma, obesity. Sure, absolutely.
And we still fill them full of junk food and give them Cheetos and Diet Cokes. So, okay.
Because it's delicious. So just to put a wrap on this.
Is there going to be a bow on this?
I'm going to put a bow on this.
I love it.
I always say wrap or something. I don't know.
I know. I'm trying to help.
Just think. We had 3 finalists for president, and 2 are gone now. It's really amazing.
Like a month ago.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
No. Everything is unprecedented.
And let's
it ain't over.
Let's be fair. One of the 3 was almost killed in an assassination attempt.
I thought you were going to talk about the brainworm. Okay.
The brainworm is a totally different thing for RFK. But you really, if Trump didn't turn his head, Bruce, if he didn't turn his head, he takes a bullet in the face. And you have 3 out of 3 finalists that are out. But I guess you say, would Biden remain in the race? Would RFK remain? I'm just saying.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. But 2 out of 3 finalists left.
Yeah.
And 1 almost got killed.
And people aren't talking about that anymore.
No.
And it didn't get a big bump in the polls, did it?
No, I think it showed his toughness when he got up and put the fist in the face. But the
didn't necessarily help him.
No, because we have a very, very short attention span, and now
it feels like it was a year ago.
We've got people saying, "Well, the vibe at the Democratic Party was cool. It kind of reminded me of the Oscars. Maybe I'll vote for her."
Year ago.
She hasn't told me anything about policy, but So you've got Trump, Harris, no more RFK.
Yep.
It is fascinating.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.